Hello and welcome to another edition of An English Guy Watching Wrestling. I'm the English Guy, I'm Nick. Thank you so much for clicking on another video, I really do appreciate it. In this one we're going to be covering the 5th of May 2021 edition of AEW Dynamite, and one episode it was, so that being said, drop into it. The opening matchup was between Kenny Omega and Michael Nakazawa versus John Moxley and Eddie Kingston. Now, of course, the feud between Kingston and Moxley against the Elites and Kenny Omega has been building for a little bit now. It was actually interesting to see Michael Nakazawa teaming with Kenny Omega because they are best friends in real life, apparently, against the out for revenge team, shall we say, of Kingston and Moxley. And this was actually quite a good opening tag match. I enjoyed the chemistry between all four of them, and the fact that Kenny Omega kind of threw Nakazawa to the wolves to take most of the punishment, which he did, ended up losing the match with Moxley and Kingston doing a fantastic way at the end of the match for inviting Omega in to help save Nakazawa. Kenny Omega just tailed and ran, shall we say, and left Nakazawa to lose. But it was just really good psychology from all four men involved, and I give credit because obviously Kingston and Moxley are quite a good combination. Obviously, long-time friends out before they came to AEW. So to see that kind of chemistry manifest itself in this way was fantastic to watch. And it was a fantastic way to end what was actually quite a good tag match. The interactions between all four men was fantastic. You know, Nakazawa trying his best, Omega not trying to get involved, and it's kind of cool to see that. And obviously, it builds an interesting dynamic to the way the feud is going right now. So I enjoyed it. So this was actually quite a good opening match. I enjoyed this one. So thumbs up to all four men involved for producing a solid opener. Okay. The next match was the grudge match, shall we say, between QT Marshall and Cody Rhodes. Now, this has been building for some time. Cody Rhodes has been on the sideline with an injury, unfortunately, but now he's back. And he has been trying to get his hands on QT for some time now because of the, obviously, splits between the factory down the middle, QT Marshall and others forming the factory, Cody Rhodes and his brother, and others being part of the Nightmare Factory. So to see this kind of match was good, and it was a very good match, to be fair. I was looking forward to the work rate of both men because knowing how well both men work, they could work very well against each other, and they did. And it was a very interesting a very interesting match too, because obviously with the split of the factions, or say the traders, shall we say, it was kind of cool to see both men really stand up for what they believed in, and of course QT Marshall trying to hit the crossroads on Cody was interesting, which he did, but didn't get the pin. But it was a good back and forth wrestling match, hard hitting, and it was intense too, as you'd expect this match to be. And Cody Rhodes winning with the figure four, not the crossroads, after QT Marshall kicked out the crossroads, was cool as you can possibly get. So it was actually a very good match, and I enjoyed the work rate between these two, and two veteran wrestlers by now. These two are going to put on a good match, and they did, and it had that grudge match feel. So basically, with Cody Rhodes winning, and I won't say putting the feud behind him because there is more to come, I think. It was good. So a good match from both men involved, and good to see Cody Rhodes back in the ring after his injury. So definitely well done for that. Our next match was Britt Baker in a squash match, basically to build up her future AEW Women's title shot, and she will get that title shot at the next pay-per-view against Hikaru Shida. But of course, it was just a way to prove that she's there, and she's been living up to her word about basically being on every AEW broadcast as possible to wrestle and continue to win, and she did that. So there you go, can't fault it. Our next match was Varsity Blondes versus Jurassic Express versus SCU versus The Acclaimed, and this was to determine who would face the Young Bucks next week on Dynamite for the AEW World Tag Team titles. And when you get these kind of matches, the four-way tag matches, you are going to see a lot of interesting and cool combinations come together, and you got that here for sure. And some very good chopping and changing between wrestlers. Now, sometimes you see the fatal four-way matches where it's just four wrestlers, and this time, there are 8 wrestlers. And obviously, we've seen the chopping and changing, one person against another, one person against this person, and so on and so on and so on. With tags, the dynamic and that kind of fatal four-way mentality worked very, very well here, and I approved of it. It was a good fatal four-way tag match. I enjoyed it. I think SCU was never going to be in doubt to win because obviously if they lose as a tag team, they will split as a tag team. But of course, they are the number one contenders for the AEW tag team titles and were before this match anyway. but not to say there weren't some very good moments in this match. I think since the Acclaimed have reformed as a tag team, I think Anthony Bones' injury, they've missed a step. They've been great. Jurassic Express, you're never not going to be able to rely on them. One of the best tag teams in wrestling right now. And the Varsity Blondes, a very rare Dynamite appearance for them, but I'm so glad they're on it because I said they've been, I think, the most improved tag team in AEW this year. They're on a roll, they're getting wins, and they're doing very well. But this was SCU's night, and of course, them winning the match was the right call. And of course, next week they get a shot at tag team titles, and it's going to be interesting to see what happens in that one because whilst I don't want to split as a tag team, they're going to give everything they've got against the Young Bucks, so I think it could very well steal the show. And there were some good matches lined up for next week, that being said, so it'll be cool to see what happens next. So, thumbs up to all 8 men involved in this one. Good stuff, I really enjoyed it. Which led us to the main event and a matchup a lot of people were looking forward to, the Blood and Guts match between the Pinnacle and the Inner Circle. Now, of course, Blood and Guts match, if you don't know what that is, it's basically War Games, but with a different way to win the match. Now, War Games was always pinfall submission to win the match. In this one, it was basically the submission, tap out, or the team had to say, we quit. So interesting dynamics to end it. So no pinfalls, no submissions, anything goes that he expects, and of course, with a roof on top of the cage, added something different as well. So that was cool. And as these kind of matches I've seen before, this was the first time AEW have ever done this kind of match, and it was very good. To be fair, they worked it very, very well. All 8 men knew what they were doing. Sorry, 8 men, 10 men, my apologies. Knew what they were doing. They knew how to build the psychology, spots, and moments in this match very, very well. And the order that the wrestlers came into the match was the right call. With MJF entering last for the Pinnacle, Inner Circle had Chris Jericho entering last. Now, of course, they have been the epicenter of this feud. Obviously, Jericho being MJF's mentor, MJF breaking out on his own, now forming the Pinnacle. Of course, MJF had used to have Cody Rhodes as well, as you remember. But of course, MJF just proving that he's undoubtedly a star in AEW. He has been since day one, to be fair. And now he is proven to be the star right now. And a fantastic performance from all men involved in this match. But MJF getting the win for his team, I think, was the right call. As much as I do like the Inner Circle, I think they're fantastic. The Pinnacle winning, I think, was the right call because of how it's going to build their newly formed faction. Because the Inner Circle have been part of AEW pretty much since the start of its inception. With this side, the Pinnacle starting to build a bit more momentum. MJF once again getting a chance, and his group of still such talented wrestlers going to continue onwards and onwards and onwards is the right call. And some of the spots in this match were crazy. Sammy Guevara, I've said it before, can do pretty much anything in a match, and he did it here. And all credit involved to the guys. They bled a lot in this match. I mean, this kind of match should be kind of expected, but the blood was flowing in this match. So all credit to those men involved for continuing the match. And what I've heard, no major injuries at the end of the match. I'm glad to say, of course, cuts and bruises, some things happening there, but no major injuries, which I'm glad to hear. And this was the first time I've ever done it, and it was a great way to kick off. Inside, they say, in case they decide to ever do it again, it was the right way to kick off. Their adventure, shall we say, into a blood and guts match. I mean, I don't think it'll be the last time we see a match of this kind. So if it isn't, I'm all for it. But a very, very good main event, and all credit to 10 men involved for producing a very entertaining match of this kind for the first time in AEW. Of course, as I said, this match has never happened in AEW before. So the guys went out there and they proved that they can do it, and they did a very, very good job. And testament to all 10 men involved in this match for producing a very memorable match and one that will live on. So definite thumbs up. And Pinnacle winning was the right call. As much as I love the Inner Circle, and I really do, Pinnacle winning was the right call. And MJF, and they can only go onwards from here. And next week, Dynamite, if they appear on Dynamite, if they've recovered, I'm pretty sure AEW will give them a chance to recover from the wounds from such a brutal match. So when they come back, it's going to be interesting to see how they've got rid of the Inner Circle, shall we say? I don't think so. But what happens next is going to be very interesting. And a great way to top off what was actually a very good episode of Dynamite. As I said before, they've been firing on all cylinders this year, and this was no different. So the future is bright onwards from here from All Elite Wrestling. So on that bright note, that is it for this review. Got there in the end. Thank you so much for watching. I will see everybody next time. But until that time, take care.